Sometime in the mid-1800s in the country of Iran, on a nice, sunny, and warm morning, was a man by the name of Ali Misra. He was an up-and-coming robber within the criminal underworld. He wasn't always this way, but there wasn't much of an economy, and legitimate work was virtually non-existent. Ali had a big problem. He was married with 3 children, 2 boys and a daughter. Allegedly, Ali loved his family dearly and would sacrifice and do anything for them, such as become a serial killer. Within the city of Borodju, where he resided, was predominantly poor migrant community at the time. The citizens, along with the local government, allegedly were opposed to immigrants living in their community. Migrants were basically blamed for bringing more problems than solutions. When crimes were committed against citizens, the authorities would come down hard on the immigrants, but if the roles were reversed, then the authorities weren't interested in finding justice for them. Their disposition towards immigrants emboldened Ali Misra to become a robber mainly of them. Over time, he became so ruthless that Ali came up with his own sadistic trademark, which was to strangle many of the robbery victims to death. He did this so that his name would invoke immediate terror whenever anyone would meet him. When Ali encountered new victims, and if any one of them showed any type of resistance, he would automatically end their lives. Killing people made things easier when your objective was to take all of their belongings anyway. He didn't have to worry about repercussions or pushback from anyone. Eventually, his success, killing over 40 people by this point, became a curse because he was so well known that he and his entire family would have to flee the country of Iran to Iraq to save their own lives. On their way out of Iran, Ali, along with his family, were detained by soldiers until his identity could be confirmed. His family was told to proceed onward and they would meet up with him later in Iraq. After Ali's identity was confirmed, he was executed on the spot and his family was allowed to continue into Iraq. When the wife eventually found out about his execution, she did what most protective mothers would do, which was to lie to her children about their father's death. Unfortunately, the trauma left on the children from the murder of their father would follow them into Iraq and change their lives forever. Let's find out together how this story is connected to dozens of innocent murdered victims. This story is about lesser-known serial killers. If you're interested, I upload new content every Tuesday and Thursday. Well, if you're ready, let's get started. Before we get started, I realized that my stories haven't really stuck with the schedule lately. That's due to a lot of technical issues and also health issues. But I appreciate you guys still listening in on the stories. Back to the story. The wife took what little money that her husband left and started a new life for her children in the city of Baghdad. After settling in their new city, Ali Asghar, aka Ali Jr., at age 14 started his own business selling snacks to little children. Several children complained to their parents about being molested by Ali. Each parent was too afraid to report the assaults to the police due to the children being alienated or ridiculed. It wasn't until several of the parents heard about each other's children being victimized that they all decided to collectively come together and notify the police. Ali was arrested but immediately released, believing that he was no longer a threat due to his age. I don't know why they would think that. Ali went right back to selling snacks to small children again. Over the next 4 years, Ali was arrested again for molesting 5 additional children. This time he was sentenced to 9 years in prison. Around the same time, the police believed that another person was now molesting and killing small children. In each case, the kids were led to an isolated location by an unseen stranger. The children were then stripped of their clothing and assaulted in a sexual manner. Afterwards, the actor drowned each child to death. A total of 24 bodies of small children and teenagers were found distributed throughout the city. One evening, a kid that witnessed the killing of the 25th homicide victim identified the murderer as Ali Asghar. What's crazy about this story is that you would think that it would end here, but that's not the case. Now on the run from a potential death sentence in a predominantly Islamic country, Ali fled to a country with no extradition, which happened to be neighboring Iran. While in Iran, the authorities began receiving repetitive reports of missing juveniles for months on end. Most were male children, but a few were young girls as well. After an intense search of each child with no results, the police had to discontinue their efforts. The parents of the missing were upset about this, but the police had no leads and didn't know what else to do at this point. Over the course of several months, the children's little bodies were turning up all over throughout the city. They were found severely mutilated and dumped in the various aqueducts and some in the furnaces of public buildings during closing hours. An autopsy had proven that each of the missing children were found to have been assaulted in a sexual manner. The families of the children demanded retribution. One evening, the police stopped a man that seemed to be aimlessly walking in an isolated area alone. When questioned, he stated that he was a vegetable seller. The officers then searched the man and found that he was in possession of a bloody knife and child's clothing covered in blood. He was brought in for questioning. The neighbors of the strange man were questioned and notified the police that the stranger was with a boy the previous evening whom he introduced as his younger brother. That boy resembled and was identified as the last murdered victim. The killer was identified as Ali Ashgar. During the police interview, he confessed to forcing himself on the boy sexually. Ali also admitted to killing a total of 8 children in Iran and 25 in Iraq in the same manner. Ali was tried, found guilty, and sentenced to 9 years in prison. After his prison sentence was completed, he was then executed for his crimes in 1943. Now that's how you executed a child molesting killer. Kudos to Iran. If you enjoy more stories such as these, click on one of the suggested videos above. God bless, stay safe.